Come on, there's gotta be something in here.
Hey, I could be like Simone. I could pierce the heavens as Drillman. I'll think of a hero name and hero costume eventually, guys.
You better get back!
Just who the hell do you think I am?
Hey everybody, what is up, and welcome back to another anime review with the TheMKninja. And we are, of course, back with My Hero Academia, and I am excited because Season 4 comes out later this year, but of course, I have to tackle Season 3 with a review before I can even touch Season 4. So, instead of a normal review, I will be instead going over the major changes between Season 1 and 2 to Season 3 and talking about what I like and what I don't like. So, let's get this bitch started. Class 1A once again finds themselves in trouble as villains attack their training camp. But they don't get another breather afterwards, as not too long after, they have to go and get their hero licenses. That way they can legally fight these villains. So one of the big changes between Season 2 to Season 3 is there's a lot more focus on building up the story of the world instead of the characters, because Season 1 and 2 were very focused on building up our characters, which is of course important. But with Season 3, it feels like there's more of a focus on showing how the world of heroes is being affected by the League of Villains and how all the main characters are being affected, and going further towards the main plot. Whereas in Season 2, there were parts of it, and like there was basically one arc of it, which was about the hero killer and talking about like where the story is basically going to be heading to, with the villains emerging more and more, as well as hints at the ends, and talking about All for One. But in Season 3, that really takes the show there. Although not for the whole thing, of course, mostly for half of it, because the second half is more going back towards the characters, but that's the most that we've ever gotten, because in Season 1, that was towards the end of it, because before then it was all about building up the characters and, you know, their lessons. In Season 2, it was mostly about building up the characters and their lessons and stuff that is really cool, but wasn't really, like, story important. But in Season 3, a lot of the things that happen are very story important. Even the lesson later on, the licensing exam, that's very story important because it allows the characters to actually fight these villains legally in the streets, which is very important because they're becoming a lot more active. And I do really like that. And one problem I do have, though, is with Season 1 and 2, they felt rather balanced in terms of how, like, they progressed. With Season 1, it got gradually better and better and better, which of course makes sense, and that's the best way for it to be. With Season 2, it felt like a really gradual line, but it was at a much higher point than Season 1. It was very consistent with its hype, I guess you could say. But with Season 3, it kind of blows its load a little early. The first half of the show feels a lot more exciting and epic and enjoyable than the second half. Not that the second half of the show isn't really good, it is definitely very good, but I would say the first half is a bit stronger in many different ways, in terms of writing, in terms of animation, in terms of characters, and in terms of the story. But overall, it still makes a great package, but I think a lot of people agree that the first half of Season 3 is the best part. But another really great part of it is the fact that we finally have some really great villains. My Hero Academia has kind of been like the Marvel Cinematic Universe in that the characters have always been really interesting, but the villains have been pretty lacking, with the exception of Stain, but he was only in one arc. And even though he's made a big impact on the world, again, he's only been in one arc, so it's hard to really count him. I mean, of course, he's a villain in the series, but it's hard to say, like, oh, our best villain is Stain, a side villain. But now we don't have to say that. Now the League of Villains actually has a lot of really enjoyable characters, and Shigaraki is growing as a character and maturing as a villain, and I really like to see that. A lot of these characters have been maturing. The heroes have been, you know, becoming more affiliated with the powers. They've been learning how to use them more, learning how to control themselves. But Shigaraki has not been able to do that, but now we finally see him taking steps towards that. And that really makes it very threatening as he becomes a lot more of a tangible threat to the heroes, which is, well, a good thing. You need a good villain to threaten our heroes. Also, I forgot I should shut this. Sorry if that was distracting. I'm going to go into spoilers a little bit here. I'm not going to spoil a huge bit, so if you haven't seen Season 3, go ahead and see it. But another villain that appears is All For One, and this dude is definitely the big bad. He's very interesting and very intriguing because he's very different from a lot of like main villains for shonen anime, because even though he's like, you know, very menacing and such, you feel like this guy kind of has like a big plan in store. He's kind of like a reverse All Might. Like, he does want to help people. He wants to help the villains on his side because he feels that they've been crushed down by society. He's still incredibly ruthless and dangerous and evil and messed up, but you feel like there's this genuine sense of caring for the people that he works with. This season was also very important for the character of Bakugo. He's been a pretty controversial character for a lot of My Hero fans and has been a lot of people's least favorite character, especially in Season 1, though he did get a little more likable in Season 2. But Season 3 is definitely big changes for his character that starts to lead him more towards an actual rival path and leads him on to sort of a redemption arc. Not exactly something that's out of his character, but something that makes sense based on everything that's been built up beforehand, and it really helps and makes him a lot more interesting. I've always liked Bakugo anyway, but this season really did make him better in my opinion. The season also gave us more of All Might, as we learned a lot more about the character's past. It usually has been shrouded in mystery. We've only known glimpses here and there about maybe the source of One for All or about his teacher, but we never knew about the previous holder or his previous aspirations or anything like that. So it was nice to see a little bit more in depth of a character who's so important to the story. As always, Deku is great. Gotta love Deku. Gotta love all the characters. Characters in My Hero are just fantastic. Fight scenes are, of course, fantastic. This season has the two best fight scenes we've seen so far. And I will not spoil either of them because they're both huge spoilers for the characters and the story. And a lot of the other skirmishes around are just really good. And it just shows that Bones knows what they're doing when animating, and the writing and these characters have gotten so strong that we could even have like just we can have action and emotion. As I've always said, My Hero Academia has some of the best action because it also fills its emotional moments in there. Instead of just two people punching each other, it's two people punching each other, but there's meaning behind it. I had a bit of trouble actually deciding whether I like Season 2 or Season 3 more, as I think they're both really, really strong. But Season 2 had some things that were a little better and more consistent. It was a much more consistent package, so it's easier to lump it all together and say, oh, it's all this score. But for Season 3, it's a bit more inconsistent. But overall, I'm going to say that Season 3 is slightly better than Season 2. Very slightly. It's still My Hero Academia, still going to be fantastic, and I am, of course, looking forward to Season 4. But overall, I'm going to give My Hero Academia Season 3 a 9.1 out of 10. And as always, if you guys enjoyed the video, please go ahead and make sure to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out my other videos. Also, make sure to check out my spoilers, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.